back to the channel. We're still messing with this Subaru. Tonight we're going to test a couple things on it. There is an aftermarket Defi oil pressure sensor in it with a gauge that doesn't work. So we really have no way right now of telling if the car actually has oil pressure or not, which obviously isn't a good thing. So for tonight I'm going to go ahead and put the factory oil pressure switch back in it so that we at least have a light. We're also going to take the oil filter off and cut it open, see if we have any bearing material or anything in there that would indicate maybe a bottom end problem. And then if we get time, we're also going to do a compression check on it, see if we can see if the valves are bent on the driver's side. Then the last thing that we're going to try to do is test the O2 sensor. So it has an O2 sensor heater circuit code. It has had since we bought it, but I'm assuming it's just the sensor, but I'm going to show you how to ohm test that sensor and see if the heater circuit's bad in the sensor or if you got another problem with wiring. So you do not have a light that says oil or oil pressure, like a oil can or anything like that, right? What about now?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. So just making sure that it works on the car. So I plugged the oil pressure sensor into the wire and just touched it to some metal and had Brendan confirm that the light does work in the dash. So we're going to go ahead and put that sensor in, and that way we'll at least have some way to make sure that it does have oil pressure. Alright, I got that oil pressure switch screwed back in there, tightened down. I'm going to go ahead and plug the wire in, and we'll at least have some indication if it loses oil pressure. I'm going to go ahead and leave the crank sensor unplugged for now, because if we end up doing the compression check tonight, we'll want that unplugged so that it doesn't try to start when we're having compression gauge hooked in. Got Brendan taking the oil filter off. Oil filter on these sits just behind the timing belt there.
See how much oil on the ground back here? It'll be okay.
How do you feel after taking the oil filter off?
I feel okay.
Feeling good?
I guess, yeah. I feel the same, but just with an oil filter off.
And oil on your hand?
Yeah. Okay, that's probably good. I'm not gonna put that in there.
I will.
I won't.
Alright, we got the oil filter off of it. Got it over here in the pan draining so that we can cut it off without making too big of a mess. So while we're waiting on that, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to test this oxygen sensor. Heater circuit on it. So there's going to be 4 wires on the sensor. You can see there on this particular car there's a white and a blue, and then there's a pair of blacks. So the pair that are the same color is going to be the heater circuit, and then the other 2 are going to be the signal and the power. So what we're going to do is just ohm across the two black wires, which on this one they colored the connector white for those two wires, so easy to tell which ones to do. So we're going to set our multimeter on ohms. And then just go into those two terminals. We have a really high reading there, so basically that's telling us there's way too much resistance, so the sensor itself is bad. What we should get, if this was a good sensor, we should get somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 10 or 12 ohms or something like that, a pretty low number, but we're looking at 0.5 mega ohms here, so that's too much. The sensor is bad. So just for reference, I have the O2 sensor here out of the Honda. It was just laying on the bench, and it's similar. So it's got green and white, and then it also has the pair of blacks. So just to show you what a good sensor looks like, we'll do the same thing. Put the two leads on the two black wires. And you can see there we're getting 12.8 ohms. So that's what we expect to get, 12.8 ohms, somewhere in that neighborhood, 10 to 15. So that is how you can diagnose the oxygen sensor heater circuit code in your car. So I need to come up like this way if I want to show close-ups.
Yes, you had to, like right here where this thing is.
How's that?
Get me like in line with that.
This thing?
Yeah, like right in the center.
Huh.
I think right in there.
Okay. Looking at this oil filter after it drained for a while, I don't know what this is, but it, just a little bit of it was sticking out, and I pulled on it, and this whole thing came up out of the oil filter. I have no idea what it is. It's like plastic. It's like a little plastic strip of something. No idea what that is. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and try to cut this oil filter open. Unfortunately, I don't have the fancy oil filter cutter, so we're basically just going to try to knock a hole in it with a chisel and get some tin snips started and just cut the can, and then we'll pull the filter out once we get the can cut open. You can go ahead and put this oil filter on while we're waiting. When you put an oil filter on, you just gotta put oil on the O-ring. So just take your finger and dip it in some of that oil that came out of the other oil filter, and then just rub it around the ring, and then just put it on there hand tight. What are you doing? Huh?
Ah, he's beautiful.
I like his haircut.
What's wrong with this kid?
You're wasting your space, bro. I'm not putting that in there.
I am. Got the oil filter cut open. There's definitely sparklies in the bottom of it. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but it's definitely sparkles in there. It's probably bearing material. a certain amount you're gonna get, but
Yeah. LIB.
alright, so basically I see some flecks of bearing material, which isn't great, but doesn't necessarily mean that we have a major failure. I did also find a couple bigger chunks of stuff. That's even more concerning, but um, it's not just completely packed full of metal, so I'm still hopeful that we don't have a major problem, but um, we'll see. So the next step's going to be to run a compression test on it. It's getting late tonight, so we're not going to do that tonight, but we will come back out hopefully tomorrow night if we have time and run the compression test on it, see where we're at. I'm assuming that we're going to see a problem with the driver's side, low on compression, probably from bent valves. So if that's the case, we'll just have to get the head off and get some new valves put in it and get it all put back together. That'll be it for tonight. We will pick back up tomorrow.